Hello everyone, just posting an update on the stock. As you've seen in previous videos, I've made a lot of progress on it. Today I got the paint and clear coat applied, and actually I'm really impressed with how well this has turned out. It looks, in my opinion, semi-professional. This looks like something you would get from Bell & Carlson or HS Precision, somebody like that. It definitely has that vibe of, a stock you could buy. On top of getting the paint done, which to get this camo pattern, it's like almost like a sponge camo, but I actually ended up using like a Scotch pad almost. Just some really cheap ones I picked up from the dollar store. It was like, I don't know, pack of 10 for $1. They really suck as scuff pads. They're really awesome in creating this improvised camouflage. But anyway, I did get the bipod sling swivel hole drilled, and I'm actually using a the wood screw version of the sling swivel stud in the front there, and it holds on pretty well. I'm probably going to epoxy it in place on the back. You could always do the machine thread, the machine screw thread, go all the way through and do some kind of build up to it. I just wanted to keep it as simple as possible. And then for the rear of the stock, as you can see, there is a brass nut bedded in right there. That is actually there because it's probably been noticed. I filled in the original sling swivel mount to this rifle, or to this stock. The reason I did that is I don't plan on using the original slings on this. I don't plan on using a leather sling. I don't plan on using the canvas sling. This is going to be a pretty, modernized stock. I wanted this to be, a bit more modern in that respect. It is going to get flush cups. I'm waiting on those. I wanted to do the paint job first because I didn't want to have to tape around anything. That's the same reason that I don't have the stock furl mounted and epoxied in place yet, is because I wanted to get this painted before I did anything like that. I just did not want to tape around anything. It's so much easier to enjoy camouflaging something when you don't have to tape around it. Now the nut that is actually bedded into the rear of the stock there is actually one of these. This is the screw and nut combo. I've got a couple of these just in case I screwed it up or something. It actually went very well on the first try. But as you can see, it's like a thumb screw with a divot and some knurling. So it's going to hold in place very well the way it's bedded in. It's not going to rotate on me, and it's just holding in a rubber butt pad. The butt pad's going to absorb a lot of the shock. The bedding, it's not going to be used as a skull crusher. There's other ways to do it. You could use like a rod coupling, like a threaded rod coupling nut. It's just it looks like a normal nut. It's like 3/4 of an inch long, though. That would be a really good option if you wanted to make this thing even tougher. What I like about the brass is that if something goes wrong, I'm more likely to strip out the brass insert than I am to damage the rest of the stock. I would much rather drill out this brass insert than damage or crack or anything like that the whole rest of the stock. The screw is actually the same thread pitch as the originals. Now this is just a regular steel screw. I'm gonna try to blue it at some point. Once I get some bluing compound, I may just try to hot blue it, heat it up and put it in oil. I may try to do that, or even just paint it. It's going into a rubber butt pad though, so I'm really not worried about that. But this actually is the exact same thread pitch as the original butt pad, or the original butt plate screws. For those of you who are curious, the machine thread screws that hold on your M1 Garand butt pads, your M16 sling swivels, a lot of your military stock hardware is held on by a 10 by 32 thread machine screw. I went with that because there's always a chance that I may redo this, and I wanted to have a nut lying around that if I wanted, I could bed it deeper into the stock and use the original screw. I didn't do that in this case because I don't see a problem with the screw that I found. You know, it's a Phillips head screw. There's really nothing, you know, there's nothing wrong with this. It's gonna hold just fine. The only things left to do at this point are to mount the flush cups for the QD swivels, which, like I said in previous videos, sorry about that, one will be mounted right in here, and then the other will be mounted here. We'll see how they go. I thought about mounting one here at the top of the pistol grip, but honestly, this is an M14. It's a fairly long rifle. Now, if this was going on to a SOCOM 16, yeah, I would put one here, just because that rifle is short enough that you could do a, you know, you could do a fairly close together mounted 2-point or even a single point sling, you know, and that would, if this was going on a SOCOM 16, it would have probably 8 QD points, you know, the 2 I mentioned, and then it would have one here and one here, you know, or even a little farther up. But this is going on a rifle with a 22-inch barrel, so I wanted it to have something secure, but not, you know, go over the top. I want it to be a very simplistic stock, modern but simple. But I'm really impressed with how this has turned out. It has been a really fun project. I do have one more stock. I may leave it up to viewer suggestion as far as what you guys want to see. I know I don't have a huge following or anything like that. I don't know how many people are going to see this or when they're going to see this. This is really more of a guide, kind of a follow along project for those who are curious what goes into these. I'm really sorry I can't do any live action type filming where I'm actually doing the stuff. I have to explain it after the fact. I hate doing that. I'm just very limited in my filming capabilities. Unfortunately, I don't even have internet access where I live, so I'm literally using a cell phone and data to post all of this. So it obviously kind of difficult to you know, take care of anything live or you know, as a follow along thing. It's hard to do any kind of video editing or anything like that. But for those of you who do see this, thank you for following along. I hope this is helpful. This video series can really be applied to any stock, you know, any kind of fiberglass or even a good polymer. And I would even say, you know, any kind of, if you just have an old wood stock. I will say I have painted wood stocks before. I have done work to wood stocks before. Contrary to popular belief, not every wood stock is, you know, collectible walnut. Not every wood stock is high grade, you know, curly maple or anything like that. It's not exhibit, you know, sometimes it's just an old birch stock. If you've got an old birch stock that doesn't take a stain or is just, you know, kind of rough around the edges, don't be afraid to paint it. Don't be afraid to modify it. If you've got an old 22 beating around the garage, you know, you just want to, you know, unless you're worried about the collector's value, if there is any, don't be afraid to experiment with it. Like I said, you can add a cheek riser like this to any gun, almost any stock, and it's gonna be fine. So I hope this is helpful. You know, if you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the comments. I will do my best to answer them in a timely manner. I don't have a regular upload schedule, but thank you for following along. Those of you who may be following along or have followed along, you know, I really appreciate it, and I hope this helps you. You know, if nothing else, maybe provide a little bit of insight or entertainment value, whatever. But thanks for watching. See you guys next time. You know, like I said, the next update, this thing will be done. I'll show you it in the rifle. I'll show you how it turns out, and I may even post up a group, you know, just to show you how it does. But we'll see what happens. All right. Have a good one.